Your CEO is terrified of something they don't understand, and it's your job to protect them from it. I'm talking about the bank getting hacked. The thing that keeps financial executives up at night. But here's the twist. Most cybersecurity leaders are focusing on the wrong threats entirely. As a global CISO who spent over 2 decades helping to protect some of the world's largest organizations, including banks and financial institutions, I've uncovered a truth few in our industry like to admit. The most dangerous cyber threats aren't the ones splashed around the headlines. They are quiet, sophisticated attacks that slip through the cracks, the ones that exploit the disconnect between what the CEOs understand about cybersecurity and what's really unfolding on the front lines. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how banks get hacked, what keeps CEOs and boards awake at night, and, most critically, how mastering this knowledge can catapult your career to the executive level of a group or international chief information security officer. Because when you can translate technical risk into boardroom relevance, you don't just protect your organization, you make yourself indispensable. So let me tell you about a CISO I mentored, and we'll call him Michael. Brilliant technical mind, could spot vulnerabilities a mile off, but he was stuck. His CEO would nod politely during his presentations, then immediately calling in expensive consultants for a second opinion. Well, why? Because Michael was talking about patches, vulnerabilities, and threat actors, while his CEO was worried about reputation, damage, regulatory fines, and shareholder confidence. 2 people in the same meeting speaking completely different languages. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to bridge that gap and become a trusted advisor your executives desperately need. Key insight number 1. Want to know the biggest cybersecurity threat to your bank? It's sitting in the executive suite right now. The shocking truth is that 81% of bank CEOs identify cybersecurity as their number 1 risk, yet only 43% believe that organization security plans can keep pace with the rapid technology change. This isn't just a statistic, it's your career opportunity. Because the first thing you need to understand about banks getting hacked is that it's not primarily a technical problem, it's a human one. According to recent research, 74% of cyber attacks start with the human element. Not 0 days, not nation state APTs, but everyday human error. For most in the cybersecurity industry, that's pretty expected, and we know those statistics. However, there's probably some things that you don't understand in enough detail to make it relevant. CEOs understand this instinctively, which is why insider risk remains one of their biggest concerns. What's often underestimated is how attackers now look beyond the office, targeting the broader ecosystem. With unparalleled access to strategic information, these individuals become prime targets for tactics like social engineering, impersonation, and even deepfakes. When you position cybersecurity as protecting the extended human supply chain, including leadership and their surrounding ecosystem, you elevate the conversation to what truly matters in the boardroom. You're no longer just a technical expert, you're a trusted advisor safeguarding the people and decisions that shape the organization's future. Key insight number 2. The one thing that will actually get you fired isn't a data breach, it's something far worse. And most CISOs completely miss this. The second critical insight about banks being hacked will transform your leadership approach. The attack vectors that keep your CEO awake at night aren't the ones you're spending most of your budget on. According to the World Economic Forum's 2025 Global Cybersecurity Outlook, cyber-enabled fraud ranks as the second highest organizational risk, right behind general cybersecurity threats. Yet most cybersecurity teams are structured around preventing data breaches, not detecting sophisticated financial fraud. Now here's a career-changing insight. In banking, the crown jewels aren't just data, they are transaction systems themselves. The most devastating attacks don't just steal information, they manipulate the integrity of financial transactions. Remember the Bangladeshi bank heist? Attackers didn't just breach the network, they compromised the SWIFT messaging system and attempted to steal nearly 1 billion. They succeeded in taking 81 million before being caught. When you position your cybersecurity strategy around protecting transaction integrity rather than just preventing data breaches, you'll align directly to your CEO's primary concern. This isn't about compliance checkboxes, it's about preserving fundamental trust that banking depends on. Cybersecurity leaders who advance the fastest understand this distinction. Prevention is important, but detection and response capabilities that specifically target transaction fraud will get you noticed in the boardroom. That vendor security questionnaire you're so proud of, it's completely worthless. And here's why. The third bank hacking insight that will elevate your leadership, third-party risk, is where the real vulnerability lies. But most organizations are completely approaching it from the wrong direction. According to Bank Director Survey of 2025, the risk survey, 94% of bank leaders admit to moderate to heavy dependency on vendors for cybersecurity, yet only 28% rate their cybersecurity institutions' vendor management as excellent. Here's your career accelerator. Stop treating third-party risk as a compliance exercise and start treating it as a business continuity issue. The most sophisticated bank hacks don't attack your fortress directly. They target your suppliers, your contractors, your legal firms, and your cloud providers. They find the path of least resistance. One of the most effective methods for compromising banks is to hack their business partners, who are most likely more poorly secure in their networks. But here's what your CEO doesn't realize. The questionnaires and annual assessments that make up your third-party risk programs are largely thereafter. They don't capture real-time changes in your partner's security posture. When you shift the conversation to, here's where we are with our monitoring our critical partners in real time, you demonstrate strategic thinking that gets noticed. You are protecting the business ecosystem that your bank depends on. Key insight number 4. The ransom payment is the least of your worries. This is what actually kills banks after the ransomware attack. The fourth and critical insight about a bank being hacked that will distinguish you as a leader is ransomware. Ransomware isn't just about a ransom, it's about operational resilience. According to the latest cybersecurity trends in 2025, ransomware remains the top threat for financial institutions. But here's what most cybersecurity leaders miss when communicating with executives. The ransom payment is often the smallest cost. The real impact is business disruption. When banking operations go offline, customer trust evaporates, regulatory scrutiny intensifies, and the reputational damage can last for years. This is where you can truly elevate your leadership by reframing ransomware defense as an operational resilience issue rather than just a security problem. The most successful bank CISOs I've mentored don't just talk about preventing ransomware, they demonstrate how their security strategy enables them for the business to recover quickly. They run joint exercises with the business units to practice operations and degraded conditions. They identify crown jewels through that process that must be protected at all costs. And when you position yourself as an architect of operational resilience, rather than just a guardian of the systems, you become indispensable to your CEO and the executive team, and especially the business leaders, because ultimately they care less about preventing every attack, that the bank can continue serving its customers no matter what happens. Key insight number 5. That organizational chart your bank is creating is a massive security blind spot that hackers exploit every day. The fifth and perhaps most powerful insight about bank hacking that will transform your career: the separation between cybersecurity and other critical business functions like IT, operations, risk management, or even compliance, is creating dangerous gaps that attackers are eager to exploit. According to the Bank Director's 2025 risk survey, cybersecurity ranks as one of the most top concerns for executives and directors. Yet, in many organizations, the security team operates in a silo, disconnected from teams that manage core systems, operation resilience, or even physical security. The most sophisticated attacks today don't exploit technology, they exploit process breakdowns. For example, attackers may subtly alter system configurations that affect service availability, tamper with data pipelines that power your business systems and critical analytics, or disrupt your core operations like payment clearing. And knowing how these risks will develop will often fall between the technology and the business domains. When you can explain how these cross-cutting risks play out, you can propose integrated strategies that bring cybersecurity, IT risk, and operations together. You elevate yourself from a technical expert to an enterprise strategist. And leaders who can bridge these organizational gaps become indispensable. Now let's talk about how you can apply these insights to transform your leadership approach and accelerate your career. First, stop presenting technical metrics to your executives. They don't care about vulnerability counts or patch percentages. Instead, frame cybersecurity in terms of business risk scenarios they can understand. For example, don't say we detected 50,000 attempted intrusions last month. Instead say, based on current attack patterns, we estimate a 15% probability of a significant business disruption in the next 12 months. Here are the 3 specific scenarios we are most concerned about, their potential business impact, and what we are doing to reduce that probability to get under 5%. Second, become a translator between technical realities and business priorities. According to the World Economic Forum, CEOs and boards want cybersecurity leaders who can communicate complex issues in business terms. Create a simple risk framework that executives can understand at a glance. Use business-focused metrics that they already care about. Connect your security investments directly to risk reduction in financial terms. And third, proactively address the human element. And remember, 74% of attacks start with people. Develop executive-specific security awareness that acknowledges their unique risk types without talking down to them. So, by understanding these 5 key insights we've covered today, the human supply chain that starts with executives and themselves, the focus on transaction integrity over data protection, the real approach to third-party risk, operational resilience as a goal of ransomware defense, and the convergence of cybersecurity and fraud. You can position yourself not as just a technical expert, but as a strategic business leader who addresses the CEO's actual concerns. As cybersecurity professionals, we often fall into the trap of thinking that our technical expertise will make us valuable. But the leaders who advance fastest are those that can translate that expertise into business language and align cybersecurity strategy with organizational priorities. Remember Michael, that brilliant CISO who couldn't get his CEO's attention? Well, after applying these principles, he didn't just get a seat at the table, he became one of the CEO's most trusted advisors and became one of the bank's most trusted digital transformation experts. His career accelerated and he eventually moved into a broader risk leadership position, which included multiple operational responsibilities, but with more salary and compensation. You can follow the path by understanding what keeps your executives awake at night and positioning your cybersecurity program to address those specific concerns. If you found these insights valuable, hit the like button, subscribe for more content on cybersecurity leadership. And in the comments, I'd love to hear what your biggest concerns are and where you believe your communication and experience has helped in other organizations. If you want to dig deeper into how to position yourself as a cyber strategic leader, check out the link in the description for some free guides on translating cybersecurity into boardroom metrics. Remember, in today's threat landscape, technical skills get you in the door, but a strategic communicator with skills gets you to the executive table. I'll see you in the next video. Darren, out.